Think sports SUV and most people would picture this, the Porsche Cayenne. It's been around since 2003 and has firmly established itself as a household name. Not only that, but this plug-in hybrid model gets a storming 456 brake horsepower and an official pure electric range of 27 miles.
And yet, the previous generation Cayenne Hybrid never really captured the enthusiasm and imagination of the performance-loving buyers that the Porsche SUV caters for. So, given that this all-new one has got increased competition from the likes of the Volvo XC90 and BMW X5 plug-in hybrids, and costs around 70 grand, you've got to hope that this one can satisfy the enthusiasts and tax scrimpers alike.
The Cayenne E-Hybrid gets a 14.1 kilowatt-hour battery that you charge up by plugging in via the flap at the back of the car. The cables you get as standard include the usual 3-pin cable and also a plug that will let you charge up at industrial sockets you typically find in campsites or commercial sites.
However, you do have to pay around £300 to get a Type 2 cable that will give you access to the AC public fast charging network, which is annoying to say the least. And to add insult to injury, you don't get any dedicated cable storage in the boot, so you end up lugging this massive suitcase around with you everywhere you go. Also very annoying. However, there is something that might help make up for that, and it's called the Porsche charging service. Now basically this means that it saves your finance details, and if you go and visit a public charging point that you're not registered with, you can use your Porsche app instead, thereby saving you time and hassle.
In terms of charging times, the standard e-hybrid will charge up in around 4 hours at best if you plug it into any charger offering 3.6 kilowatts or more, which is basically any dedicated car charger. However, pay an extra £500 and Porsche can upgrade your maximum charging speed from 3.6 to 7.2 kilowatts, which will get you a full top-up in around 2.5 hours from any Type 2 station of 7 kilowatts or faster. Regardless of whether you've upgraded or not, plug the Porsche into your normal domestic socket and you're looking at nearly 8 hours for a full charge.
So Porsche has not done things by halves when it comes to the electric running on this car. So 27 miles official, it's pretty good. In the real world, we've found it's more like about 20 miles, realistically. Maybe 25 at a push, especially if you're around town a lot and just doing slow speed stuff. However, once that 3-litre V6 petrol engine kicks in, you might actually be surprised at what economy you can get. If you're just driving around without really trying very hard, then you could even see 30 mpg, which for such a powerful engine is not bad at all actually, because don't forget this car's got more than 450 brake horsepower, so it's a proper performance car. So to get 30 mpg even with the petrol engine running is pretty good. Probably realistically you're going to see more like 25 to 27 mpg. Now you've got all the drive modes you could possibly want in the world, almost so many to be confusing actually. So of course you can stick it in hybrid auto, which is what a lot of people would choose to do, and it flicks between the electric and petrol engine really nicely. You just genuinely can't really feel it working when it flicks in between the two. Very nice and smooth. The 8-speed automatic gearbox is great as well. It's a defining character of this car actually, its smoothness. It's got a very sort of silky, suave character to it. And that's very nice. Or of course you can stick it in e-power, which is the pure electric mode, and it will do up to 84 miles an hour in e-power mode, which means you could do a full motorway commute if it's short enough on pure electric alone, which is great. And of course you can also choose e-hold or e-charge and all of that. So you've got all the various electric modes that you could possibly want. So you can save your electric running for later in your commute, or you can even use the turbocharged V6 petrol engine to top up your batteries. And you can use this little toggle here on the wheel to scroll through and go from e-power to hybrid auto to sport or sport plus. Yes, and this is a Porsche, so sport plus really needs to live up to something, right? 5 seconds to 62. I mean, that's proper, you know, that's proper hot hatch standard. That's getting on for sports car standard. You can't knock that in a 2.3 ton SUV. And it's got a real sort of stubborn, sort of gritty neutrality to the way this car handles. You can really fling it around corners. The speed you can carry is insane. But I have to say, the e-hybrid is not really quite as good to drive as the standard petrols because it's heavier, and you do notice that. And also it's more about the pedal feel, because the brake feel in particular in the e-hybrid, of course this car has got regenerative braking, so if you lift off and coast, or if you brake, then it's harvesting all that energy and sending it into the batteries. But the problem is that plays with the brake feel, and it means you get quite an inconsistent response sometimes. It's not an aggressive car, it's not a car that really encourages you to like hoon around. So if you want that, then this isn't it. But if you just want a car that feels really lovely and laid back, and then when you want it has got properly sort of quite breathtaking acceleration, then it's great. If there is anything that solidifies the smug feeling you get when driving a Porsche in the Cayenne, it's the interior. It looks and feels absolutely awesome in here. And of course, the focal point is really this touchscreen. So you actually get this widescreen as standard, and it gets really all the equipment you could want, including sat-nav, Apple CarPlay, 2 USB inputs, and even 2 USB inputs in the back actually to keep the kids happy. You can control it with this rotary dial or with the shortcut buttons here, as well as a touchscreen. So the fact that it just has so much functionality means it does take some time to get used to, but once you've got the hang of the menus and everything, it really is one of the best systems out there actually, and certainly graphically it's just, you know, hard to fault. On top of that, actually standard equipment isn't too bad. You do get climate control, cruise control, LED headlights, front and rear parking sensors, part leather seats, electric adjustment, so you do get really the essentials that you'd want. Having said that, Porsche are masters of the optional equipment list.
Full leather, keyless entry, active LED headlights, bigger alloys, ambient lighting, even heated seats and adaptive cruise control are all optional. At least practicality is good then, with loads of space in the back seats so even 2 tall adults will feel relaxed, and the seat backs fold flat in 3 sections. The boot is a good size, but it's without the even more cavernous space and 7-seat layout offered by rivals like the Volvo XC90 T8. Ultimately, practicality has always been secondary to performance and prestige in the Cayenne.
Whether or not you like the Cayenne E-Hybrid will probably come down to expectations. If you're one of the purists that reckons that the Cayenne should be a proper Porsche despite being an SUV, then you will probably be a bit disappointed, even compared to the slightly lighter, more nimble feeling standard petrol Cayennes. Mind you, you're probably not after an SUV anyway if you're of that mind, so fair enough. If you are after a proper performance SUV, then the E-Hybrid does kind of do it all, and you get that electric running and free entry to the London congestion zone. So taking all that into account, and given that with the options on this car you can easily see it pushing £80,000, the Cayenne E-Hybrid is wonderful to live with and to drive, but it just feels like it should still be even better to drive and even more efficient. For more reviews, advice and all of your electric car news, head to DrivingElectric.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also check us out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.